spill your thoughts on the couch. Diddy comes down like what the noise about. See his wife with no face and an unbuttoned blouse. I don't wanna hear no stutters with that barrel in your mouth, but say my name 3 times, I'm all about the clout. Don't you worry, old man, I'll leave you with no doubt that I'm taking your kids, have them turning tricks out.
Yo, I enter the scene with my chain.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 7th episode of HorrorCorridor, the quality violent cinema show, and we are here with Shayne Pop'N Wolf. What's up, man?
Yo, my man. How are you?
How you doing?
Supreme, chilling. Had a crazy month, but I mean, I'm good. I'm out of town, and I'm happy to be speaking with you, my guy.
Hell yeah, man. It's nice when you're out of town to see like a familiar face, even though it's someone that's on Facebook.
No, absolutely. I mean, I've been locked in a hotel room for just shy of a whole month now. So I'm happy to talk to fucking anyone.
Yeah. At first, you know, like getting high in a hotel room, like just hanging out, it's kind of fun. And then you start to miss your family. And then you start to turn into Jack Torrance from The Shining. And before you know it, the whole hotel's dead. So,
bro, beyond. Yes. It's funny because I was like breaking down over the weekend, mad stress, me and you discussed. And contacted my wife, and I was like, dude, I completely understand why like some rock stars or even pop stars go fucking insane being on tour. It's easy. There's so much seclusion, and sure, there's coworkers, but who the fuck are they?
Oh yeah, you know? Yeah, for sure, man. Like too much time away from your family and your comfort zone. Like I go crazy if I can't prepare my own meals for too long. Like I don't like eating fast food or like restaurant food too much. So.
Dude. Amen. I'm with you on that. Yeah. I think with my issue the other day is I actually just threw it away. It's some ramen noodles in a white package. Have you ever seen that?
Is it microwavable or is it
It's like a regular top ramen, and you know they're usually in an orange or red packet for beef and chicken, but this one was just in a white packet.
The mystery meat.
Like, yeah, it was strange, dude. It tore me up.
I'm sorry. Well, I'm glad that you came out on the other side.
Absolutely.
Look like you're ready to rip a 16 right now. So, but we won't make you do that. We're going to get into your history, which is like super interesting for me because I wasn't even turned on to this whole KYP scene. I knew about Murder House, but I didn't know about all these sub labels that you guys were doing and the scene.
Right.
And now that like Marshmello Monster kind of turned me on to all of it, and I'm like, holy shit, like this is my kind of
opened a massive door.
Yeah, like I love that disgusting fucked up, no limits, no apologies, like King Gordy, you know. I think a lot of our listeners will know who King Gordy is, but
right, absolutely.
KYP I think takes it a step further. Gordy kind of feels like a cartoon character sometimes, but KYP is like, these are some fucked up kids you don't want to run into.
I appreciate that, and I understand the cartoon character of King Gordy also. I mean, it must be a Detroit thing because he's speaking on the sickness and the rape and all that, and I've always appreciated just him being vile, and he's pretty well known, mainstream and all that, and he's just been vile as fuck his whole career. I appreciate it, but I mean, yeah, I speak on rape also and mad disturbing shit, but I haven't touched the raping Justin Bieber point yet, like my boy King Gordy there. Yeah. But mad love to him, no doubt. KYP, I mean, that was my life. That was I don't know, I'd have to say that was a nice little period chunk of time from like 2004 until about 2011. Murder House and KYP just like taking over fucking downriver Michigan. We were popping that horrorcore scene, and fucking SKR, LSP. It was a beautiful year for horrorcore at that time, my man.
Hell yeah, man. And you did so many collabs in that time because shit was just popping off.
It was, yeah. I mean, we were being contacted by a lot of people that we always like. When I say we, I pretty much mean me and Chris of NDC. As for Jeff and Stitchez and Big K, I mean, they were being contacted also, but they were well known as opposed to the Neva Dead Click, me and Chris. And it was crazy because there was people that like Mental Ward fucking wanted to do songs with, and fucking people we all looked up to, and they were contacting us, hollering at tracks. And we had a lot of fun. We got to do some shit. And as for like collabs and all that, we were just, it was beautiful. I don't know. People were contacting me. It made me feel good. And I mean, all I pretty much have is that Rate Music album and those random collabs out there. We recorded our second album, Heroin, like 2 or 3 times, but our hard drives got deleted every time. Like it was fate. It wasn't supposed to be released or whatever.
Yeah,
Marshmello
Monster was telling me that KYP kind of lost a few things over the years, and
absolutely. I mean, I'm sure there's far more than just like the Heroin. There was a lot of shit, dude. Like,
I mean, the Project Sin album's impossible to find anywhere.
It's like once a year, sometime around like this time of year, it just happened a couple weeks ago. Somebody out of nowhere hits up my Facebook and they're like, yo, where's that link for Project Sin? I'm trying to download it. And it's like a Fire Media link or something like that. And every year somebody sees that post and it blows up for like 2 weeks. Everybody's downloading it. I just was talking with a buddy of mine, and he's trying to send that through to get it like a cleaner sound. We're probably going to re-release that and just let it go. Physical copies, just hand them out.
I mean, why not put it on streaming services and stuff? I think now that you're blowing up, and I think Stitch's name is gonna like start blowing up again. Like people are gonna probably start talking about him a lot more,
it'd be nice.
Which is due time, because to be honest, before the last few months, I've heard Stitchez, I've heard Mental Ward, I listened to Mental Ward,
right,
but I didn't listen to his solo stuff. I didn't listen to a lot of the KYP era stuff, other than Mental Ward, and he's amazing. So
I didn't hear that last part.
He's amazing. So I feel like people are going to get really into it soon. Like it's one of those things that revives itself after a few years.
Yeah, that would like be the cherry on top of the cake for me. If like I could start making some noise and people fall into me and peep it, and then it like rejuvenates fucking Stitchez as shit. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I'd be honored for that.
Because I mean, that was the direct pipeline I went down. Was I heard Lowlife Resurrection before I went down the Stitchez rabbit hole, even though I had heard some Stitchez songs. Shit. What led you into music and the wicked shit horrorcore scene? Like, what led you into music originally, and what made you go down that path?
Ooh, that's some light. So it's kind of strange. Like, I mean, obviously, fucking as a child and all that, growing up, fucking you want to be a superstar somehow. So I was obsessed with wrestling. I was obsessed with music. Spent a lot of time alone as a kid and all that. And my mom had a massive like album collection. So I spent a lot of time singing blues and fucking 80s love ballads and this and that. And throughout my life, that's all I wanted to do. So started writing music when I was in like 7th grade, and it was corny ass love songs and shit. And I was kind of a loner kid, didn't have many friends, and then got myself into trouble, and I found Brotha Lynch Hung, and I fucking fell in love. It made my fucking heart melt. It was like everything I'd been waiting to hear, straight up. And I was in my 2nd year of 9th grade in high school, and I was at school early, and Chris Lowe from NDC was there early every day too, because he had to take a bus to school, like the city bus. One day he was standing there. Me and this kid had never spoke or anything, just knew him because he was at school early, and so was I. And he was like, "What the fuck you listening to?" And I, like, Brotha Lynch Hung, you probably never heard of him. He's like, "Yeah, right, motherfucker." And he opened his CD case and he's listening to a Brotha Lynch Hung CD. So after that, I found like my best friend. I'm like, holy shit. So he then introduced me into Stitchez, fucking Mental Ward. Well, him and Stitchez, Jeff, were in the same class and such. I knew Jeff was making music and I was trying to get myself involved, and Chris was down to do it too. So we made Neva Dead Click. And before any of that had happened, there was the 3rd member of Mental Ward, and he didn't like doing shows and just dropped out pretty much. So we would do birthday parties and I would like replace him, or we'd do a show some random spot, and there's there's very scarce footage of me doing a terrible crip walk on stage, like acting gangster as shit, and I'm like 17 or younger. It's extremely embarrassing. But after that, I feel like that was the truest paying my dues, and I started recording music, and then DC was born.
Nice.
Mhm.
That's cool. So what was the local scene like growing up? Like, so was NDC your first scene that you were in? Was like you got in that group and then you started getting into the rap scene, or were you like?
So yeah, I legit fucking all I was doing before I met Chris was like banging girls that I could bang that were pretty. I was just nailing hole and smoking weed, being a goddamn fool, and fucking always wanted to make music, but I never knew anyone with a microphone, never knew anyone that like played with a guitar or made a band, so I had no options to do it. And when I met Chris, he put me up with Jeff, and I seen they were making music. I kind of just forced myself into that situation. In NDC, Chris was with me. Initially, we were called the Casket, and we had our friend Paul Bonkoski with us. We called him Cock Eater, Bon Cock Eater. You ever see this, Paul? Yeah, so that was Casket, and then we had only recorded maybe like 2 songs or something.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a suicide song. I think there was 2 suicide songs, which is embarrassing as fuck. There was one that like started with a phone dialing, and then there was one called Dark Days. I think people can find Dark Days, and it's fucking hideous. And then me and Chris didn't make music for a minute, and me and Jeff and G-Max started recording a ton of music, which was all lost in time. And then me and Chris completed NDC.
That's too bad, but
yeah.
That's yeah. So let's see. My next question was kind of like what led you and Chris to meet each other, but that was high school. What ended the group between you guys?
Ooh. Well, it never really ended. I mean, Neva Dead Click, yo. It honestly, like, we released that rape music, did really well. People continued to like contact us. We would do features, and we recorded all of Heroin like 2 or 3 times, legit.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think it was 2007-ish. Me and Jeff, we had a huge catalog of like tracks together, so we decided to like finish that, and a bunch of them were featuring Chris, and it was just a mess. There was never no end of NDC. It's just fucking our collection of songs each time kept getting lost. And
Yeah.
I have something that I'm going to release soon that is like the Kings of Rape, the ultimate. It's from the summer of 08.
Oh, okay. I think I saw a promo for that, like
Yes.
on like Google or something.
I'm more pumped for that than I am like my solo release.
Oh, really?
Because there's like, I want to say like 9 tracks that me and the 3rd member of Mental Ward Insanity, I call him T-Loke, Big K from Mental Ward, Chris, and a few with Jeff. But dude, it's a killer ass album, and we've been listening to it for years, and nobody's like ever heard it really. I mean, a couple of friends and shit, but we were like all in our prime.
Who did the production on it?
Big K, all of it.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Oh yeah, it's KYP to the bone.
Hell yeah.
Through and through.
So what inspired you? Was it Brotha Lynch Hung that inspired you to push your lyrics to such grotesque levels? Because I feel like you kind of take it a little bit further than him.
I think if anything, with Lynch, I was fucking taken away by what he was saying, and fucking that was what first hooked me. And then I fell in love with his flow. And I realized like his Return of the Baby Killer and all that obviously put a huge fucking light bulb off in my head.
That was my first song that I heard from him, that like I saw it on a skate video and it blew my mind. Like it was all Brotha Lynch for so long after that.
And just straight up took Lynch on. his lyrics had me going, and all I wanted to do was be able to like flow like him, have a West Coast flow. And like, you know, he's riding the beat as clean as like Snoop would ride the beat, but he's saying sick ass shit. That like it meshes so nice and well, but it shouldn't be together, you know?
Yeah. The Season of the Sickness, and then the one that he did with Six is like just nasty, dark shit. So
It's fucking insane.
and I feel like he kind of like pulled out of that as his career went in until he did the strange music stuff. But
yeah, his shit like after Season of the Sickness, like Loaded and EBK4 is decent, but kind of went to poop.
I like the Doomsday Productionz songs he did, but
my lord, Doomsday Productionz is fucking godlike to me, dude. I have it all. Northtown versus West Side, everything Doomsday there is. I have I have it all on my computer, you know, but I have it all. I love that shit. I've tried to get a hold of like all of them. I've came across Playboy and I've came across Pit, but I can't find Eclipse. And I'd do anything like to have Eclipse on a track.
Nice.
I lose my mind. I feel like sick. Chris always had an Eclipse vibe.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. You guys are the songs that you guys have done together and his solo album 149, I could tell the Doomsday Productionz Brotha Lynch influence by far.
For sure.
And there's definitely a lot of influence from like KGP also, and it sounded like lyrically just
with Chris, no doubt. Yeah. I was into the KGP quite a bit, but like I never fell too hard into it, which I kind of regret. But I was more of the Doomsday, Gangsta Nip, and Brotha Lynch. He was KGP.
That was a little bit more on the gangsta rap side than the
pretty much
horrorcore side.
But I still loved like when Q Strange and Rotten came in and shit on all of it. That was like giving me directions too, you know.
Oh yeah. Any other favorite shock rappers or shock rockers that you worth mentioning that kind of launched you into that?
I was never like the freaky gothic kid by any means, but I was down with Manson, you know, ever since like Smells Like Children came out. I had that when I was 8 or 9 or some shit. So obviously mad love to Manson. Kiss, that was my first ever concert, was a Kiss show. So not only if I had like dreams of fucking just being a rock star, but obviously like somebody, a shock star, I suppose, you know. Went through the ICP stage and all that.
Did you ever get into Gore?
I have, for sure. I seen Gore.
Yeah, they're
like a
awesome.
year before fucking Brody. Was it Dave Brody? Is that his name?
Dave Brocky.
Rocky, that's what it is. Yeah, like a year before that happened, I seen him, and it was amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw him twice with him, so I'm really happy. But I just saw him with the new singer, and it's great. I would recommend, like, their new show is still good.
They're still putting on an amazing show, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and like the new singer is pretty much the original singer. Like they went back because like they used to have a couple singers, and so they just went back and got the OG guy. And he's got a cool costume. He's got the vibes. Like it's worth checking out.
Well, yeah, I respect that. I haven't bumped War in a minute, so I'll probably do that after this.
Hell yeah!
What about some meat sandwich or something?
What about like any metal, like SOD or anything like that, or were you just more of a hip hop guy?
No, I've like always liked black metal and shit. Like fucking, I guess it's kind of weird to explain, and fucking it makes me sound like a tool who makes shit up. But I had a neighbor when I was a little kid who was like in his early 20s in the mid 90s. So he was aware of everything that was underground, Isham, ICP, fucking Mayhem, the death metal or black metal, whatever. And I was just being raised on all that while his girlfriend was babysitting me. Then I'd go home to my house and I'd just be jamming on fucking blues nonstop. So, I mean, that was the music of my life, was like sick, you know, fucking shock rock, shock whatever of the 90s mixed with like BB King, Eric Clapton, you know. random ballads.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when did you originally, were you on KYP at a certain point? Like, do you remember when that point was?
Yeah. Basically, me and Jeff were trying to figure out something to do because there was NDC and Murder House was happening, and Murder House had a pretty full roster. They weren't trying to take on NDC. So Jeff, he basically was like the silent third member of Neva Dead Click.
Mm-hmm.
He's in half the tracks or whatever. So we had always had the plan to do that. And I'm sure in the back of Big K's mind also that they like wanted to do that. But KYP initially, I was not down with the name because I was thinking like big time back then. I'm like, how the fuck are you ever going to promote the name Kill Yourself Productionz? I can't buy a rental advertisement on a bus that says Kill Yourself,
Yeah, I get it.
But ever since the beginning of Kill Yourself, when it was first conceived and going through all the process of what it's going to be, I was there, me and Chris. It was basically created so NDC could have an outlet.
That's cool. That's kind of what I was thinking, but I was kind of wondering also what was Too Sick.
So Too Sick happened once Jeff had passed away. It was kind of a mess. And, we were all just, everybody from KYP that was still around, we were just kind of like lost and didn't really know what to do or how to approach anything. And our music collectively like kind of all fell off. There was a couple releases. Demonic released something. I can't recall them all, but we all just kind of fell.
Something murderous with your
yes, no doubt. That was
your verse on there is fucking hard, man. I love that shit. Actually, I think do you have 2 songs on there? I think you have 2.
I think I do too. I think I'm featured on one that's got a couple people on it. I can't recall because it's an older album.
Yeah.
And I'm on that one track that you were talking to me about the other day. I can't remember that one either. Asshole.
Killing Things, I think it's called.
Yes, no doubt. Yeah, and I talk about fucking finding them off a freeway or some shit.
Yeah, and like locking your children in a box eating shit. It's like,
yeah, yes,
man.
Off the fucking freeway. How you feeling right now? Yeah, some shit like that. I can't recall.
Yeah,
Little fucking guilty. Some shit.
Something Murderous is definitely an album that like listeners should check out. That's
no doubt.
Really good beats, really good production on there too.
That was I'm pretty sure that's like 75% Marshmello Monster, if not all of it.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't him, then there may be like a Lechum beat and then a Big K beat.
I think he told me he did most of it, but I could be wrong. It could have been all of it, but
it could very well be all of it.
His sound fits right into the KYP camp. Like I honestly, maybe it's because I haven't been listening to it too much, but I couldn't tell a Big K from a MLM beat. But you could.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's a distinct difference, but fucking, you can definitely hear the MLM, like the influence that Big K did have on the MLM with like the synthesizers and this big sound,
Like new Marshmello Monster, I could tell that it's Marshmello Monster, but back in those days, like he was going for that horror sound. It's just like did a really good job on it.
He made a pretty good point it was probably like 2 months ago or something. Fucking, I think he made a Facebook post or something. He goes, really proud of my like career and my ventures throughout time. I've made beats for KYP and such throughout time. And, even to this day, there's some KYP artists that are using beats that I made like 14 years ago, and it's like, I'm just now discovering these and they're fucking amazing. So, Lowlife Resurrection is plenty of fucking Marshmello Monster.
I was wondering about, like, is there any way to see the liner notes for that or anything? Because like I wanted to know all the production and the
I was
features on there.
I was planning on fucking like fucking with my CD Baby or whatever account it is, and
Discogs
trying
would be
to like,
cool.
there we go. Yeah, I'll figure something out. I'll get it going, but most of it is Marshmello Monster, a few of Toxic from Trouble Minds. There's my boy Matt Turner down in Texas. He made me a few killer ones. And I can't remember who else. Somebody else made me that fucking We Are Nuts beat. And he kills shit. He's the shit. I can't recall who he is at the moment. My bad. Scatterbrained.
It's all good. Let's go back. We're gonna get to Lowlife Resurrection in a little bit because it's such a big album. There's a lot to go over on that. But I just wanted to know what the recording process for Project Sin, Open the Legs, Let Us In stuff was. Like, what did you guys do for that?
So at that point, me and Jeff and G-Mac had a ton of songs, and they had got lost throughout time. And we throughout that mix, me and Jeff had continued to make songs, and some of those were not lost. Some ended up corny, and he was trying to make like a Stitchez solo mixtape. So the first one we did and decided it was going to be called Project Sin was the Project Sin song, where it's got like Tupac talking in the beginning of it, but his voice is all distorted.
Oh,
Jeff does two verses.
I was wondering who that sample was, like, because there was like there was a couple songs where you guys like sampled other rappers. I think there's like a Lil Jon sample at one point too.
That whole album is all fucking VTZ, in and out. Every beat is VTZ that we got from his website and just made a mixtape. That's why it's like never had a true fucking release, you know. And people are like, it's the underground. Who gives a fuck? And it's like, well, I'm trying to respect people, you know. Yeah, so
I was talking about those beats. I was like, those are so sick to Marshmello Monster. And he's like, yeah, I didn't make those. They didn't make those. So they're just like off a website.
Dude, that beat for Rape a Bitch is still to this day like one of my most favorite beats of all time.
Yeah.
If it wasn't like purchased and copywritten by now, I'd purchase it just to officially own that track.
All of it just sounds super professional. I was kind of like, it's crazy. Like, this sounds like next level production on this one. Like,
and it's that was basically all mixed by Stitchez too. I think we were just chilling in his mom's basement. I know you asked me how it happened. After all that G-Mac shit was lost, we did that track, and then after that, we hung out for like 6 months in his basement doing random shit, and we drop a song probably like once a week and just sit there and write it all day and drink 40s of Old English.
Oh yeah, it's the only thing
Pineapple
to drink.
White Owls. Yeah,
I was watching.
I can't touch Old English anymore. It fucking kills me. But yeah,
I was watching the Weed At video and seeing you and Stitchez. It just reminded me of me when I first turned 21. Like, just drinking only 40s, only eating stuff from the gas station I bought the 40s at, like,
right, absolutely,
puking it all up and laughing, like,
and continuing to drink after you threw up.
Oh yeah, what is that called?
Absolutely.
A bootin' rally.
Yeah, just making more room.
Yep, for sure. Like, I was in a hardcore band called Train Yard. We weren't like offensive or anything, but like, yeah, I just remember me and my homies just listening to offensive music, getting fucked up. Like,
it's the best.
Yeah.
I mean, does anything at the age of like 18 to 23, does anything feel better than just being stupidly trashed and listening to music that nobody else can vibe to?
Oh yeah, like,
there's nothing better.
Yep, for sure. So how is the scene in your local city now? Dead?
It sucks.
And what scene is that? You're in Michigan, but what city?
I'm downriver Michigan.
Okay.
I mean, like, there's a whole journey of going through Michigan horrorcore, I suppose. It goes from Saginaw to Flint and all that, and each one of them kind of had their come up and their rise through Bedlam and Simkin Heights and fucking Rotten from Grand Rapids area, which is on the complete other side of the state. And then obviously Ecom and ICP from Detroit and all that. So KYP and KYP and Murder House, we got to claim Downriver, which is just south of Detroit, basically. It's right down the fucking river.
And that's where the horrorcore scene goes, oh, you don't go there, man. You don't go down there.
No, pretty much. And for a while, like, I'd have to say most people would agree with this, that we built up a place called the Modern Exchange where we're doing all our shows. And it's kind of become like a myth, a legend that only a certain era of like horrorcore fans and artists got to perform in it. And it only blew up because of what Murder House and KYP were doing in there. Dude, like twice a month, we were having like 500 people in there on a weekend for years.
That's
from
insane.
Like 05 to 09, dude.
That's a huge draw. And would you say that it was mostly horrorcore fans and juggalos and stuff like that? Or would you say that it was people from all walks of life just coming into those shows?
It obviously began with like friends and everything, which would be in the juggalo and like metal and hip hop weed smoker circles, you know, my fucking type of people. And then it got bigger through like a juggalo world. None of the hip hop fans really gave a fuck about it, but juggalos, they fell on it like a motherfucker, especially the juggalos from like the southern Detroit area. And you know, it was just beautiful, I guess. Fucking people were hearing about it. It was building mad noise. I forgot your question.
I was just gonna say what your local scene's like now, and you said it's dead. It sounds like it was a fucking heyday.
All right,
back
so
then.
it was beautiful. I mean, like I said, twice a month we were having killer shows nonstop, fucking for years. And we had those strictly for the Wickeds here. Those did very good for the first couple years. And I mean, I think it was 2009, fucking a different owner got the Modern Exchange and they shut it down because all the neighbors behind it fucking were throwing a fit. Currently,
they probably had the right to be, though. Like, as an adult now, I'm like thinking of the shit I used to do at venues, like crapping in the alleyway behind it and shit.
absolutely. And what's ironic as fuck, and I mean, it's a reality check for me every single day, is me and my wife, we bought a house that fucking is on the same exact street as fucking the Modern Exchange, just I'm 2 blocks down on the corner. So like I get to relive it every day and, you know, fucking have my nostalgia trip. But at the same time, like those shows were pounding so hard and there was so many like ruffians around that area on those weekends. I'd be fucking pissed if I lived there and those shows were going on.
Oh,
Me
yeah.
being a dad now, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know if you can hear my apartments right now, but it's just like that every night.
Dude, no, I can't hear it at all.
That's good. That's good. I've actually been wondering if people can hear the stomping upstairs, but that's good.
No, it's been solid. I haven't heard anything.
Oh. Baby and the wife are very quiet too, so
that's always good.
So are there any oh, sorry, what?
How old's your baby?
He is going to turn 5 months.
So. Oh, is that your only child?
Well, I have a stepson.
Oh, beautiful. How old's he?
He is 10.
I have 2 stepsons. One of them's 12 and the other one's 8. And then I have my daughter who's going to be 4 next month.
That's
so
awesome.
Mad props, stepdad.
Hell yeah,
Love
man.
You.
It's great.
I gotta grab my phone charger. 1 second.
A word.
No, mad love on that. Not lots of dudes can do that stepdad shit.
Oh yeah, man. They
get
tough.
all weirded out of it, but
it's tough to do that. For me, the only thing that's tough is like I'm really, really attentive. So it's like I feel like if I'm not in the room with the kid, I feel like I'm not trying hard enough.
God damn, bro, are you in my head?
Yeah.
Dude, legit, like this is me every day of my life, except for when I'm fucking stuck out on business, which sucks. So I have my 2 stepsons, I have my beautiful wife, and I have my beautiful daughter. 3 years old, you know, prime of her life. I should be hanging out with her and spending time. I'm just sitting in the basement playing a video game or just staring at my hands, you know, wasting fucking my life away. And I'll hit a joint or whatever, you know, chill out. And then I get all super paranoid. And I'm like, I should be upstairs with my kids. I should be enjoying family time. I should be watching TV right now with them. Even if they're doing nothing, I should do it. So I go up there and, you know, I'm looking around and they all like stop and stare at me like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And, you know, I'm all in my own head. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be up here. So I try to hang out for a minute and I just feel unwelcome. So I go back downstairs and have anxiety attacks all day.
Did you just explain my life?
You're not alone, my man.
The difference though was my stepson's here because he lives with his grandparents right now. He'll eventually live here, but he's got like attachment issues with his. It's hard to explain, but
Wife.
But when he moves here, it's going to be different because me and him are like really hands on. We're always playing video games or going skateboarding.
So you guys are cool as shit.
Oh yeah, we're like he loves horror movies, so I'm showing him all the horrible, gory stuff that's not too sexual but extremely violent and fun. Like he just saw Evil Dead and he's obsessed with Michael Myers and stuff. So
beautiful. That's amazing. Like my two stepsons, they're cool dudes, but I swear to God, dude, the younger one, I can show him like a Chucky fucking DVD case and be like, he's gonna get you, and he's freaking the fuck out. And the other one's just like, I don't really care to watch horror movies. I'm trying to get my daughter into it, but nobody gives a fuck about what I want them to get into. You know?
Your daughter, you have a chance with your daughter. She's 3.
I'm working on it, but she's legit locked into thinking she's Elsa.
Yeah, no, that's how it starts. I mean, my stepson loved Frozen. That was the first movie he fell in love with, and now I think he just switched his favorite superhero to Batman from Spider-Man because it's darker and more spooky and stuff. So, yeah.
Beautiful. You know, he's on the right path when they make that switch.
Path. Yep. That's like when I went from Star Wars to the Alien series. It's like, I was like, I'm a man now.
No, I hear you. Fucking, that's one thing. Like, I am in the nerd realm beyond belief. I'm comic books, fucking horror, dumb shit, but I never I took the time to do the Star Wars saga.
Yeah. Well,
I regret it. Like,
it's overinflated now. So
I went with my buddy when they dropped the first one of the new trilogy or whatever. And when I walked out with him, I was like, "So what's up? Is it good?" And he's like, "Eh." So
yeah, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it happens now. So I just was wondering, now that you have a family and stuff, does it change the way that you write music, to write your lyrics? I did realize Lowlife Resurrection, some of the language used is a little more subtle. It's brutaler, but you're explaining things instead of saying the trigger words. Like you're not, you know what I mean?
Fucking A. Yes, my man. I love you for that. And it's kind of just life rolled really weird. I lost Jeff and then the Chris, and I was completely done with everything for a good minute. And I fell into a wicked asshole. And I got with my wife. She saved me from some shit. And I was always under a belief I couldn't have children. So I'm with my wife that I had known for quite some time. And we ended up getting pregnant. And I'm like, holy shit. And it changed my life. I'm 30 years old, blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking all different. And I'm thinking like, I only have one life to live. So at that point, I contacted Toxic from Troubled Minds and said, dude, I'm trying to like just drop like 8 tracks and release an EP and see if anyone gives a fuck. He's like, please, dude, I've been waiting to hear from you. I'm like, beautiful, excellent. And I mean, Lowlife Resurrection, if anything, was going to be 8 tracks top of like real life, emotional fucking sobby crybaby shit. And I did like 4 tracks like that. And then I started getting some dope ass beats from Marshmello Monster that were 10 years old. And I came up with some crunk ass tracks to them. And yeah, there's a handful of tracks that were thrown away for Lowlife Resurrection. Also, I've heard complaints that it's too long of an album, and there's not enough features for how many tracks there are. But
No, that's exactly what's wrong with the underground now, is these short albums with features on every single song.
dude, when I was releasing it, like, I was so proud of myself that, like, even if a couple of the tracks were just like straight like 64 bars with no hook or whatever, at least you were getting 19 separate tracks of one artist, speaking shit. I'm giving you a ton of fucking material right here. And like, the only critiques I got was there's not enough features, there's too much and it should have been shorter.
Nope. Everything that you just said is why I love that album, because to me it's a journey. You could pick it up in the middle of the album on like a song that you like and go through, and then it can start back at the beginning, and like it's still kind of telling that story of and the thing is like you're building a character for yourself. And
Right.
I kind of wanted to get into that, like, so your new next album, what is the name? The Great Lakes Butcher?
The Great Lakes Butcher, yes.
So is that something that has to do with kind of this character you've been building for all these years, or?
Pretty much. This all popped in my head when I did a track called Trophies and had demonic on it.
That song's sick.
Thank you. And in that track I had said the downriver vampire, the back alley shank. The downriver vampire, the back alley shank, the something butcher of Great Lakes. And I just came up with all those monikers that would be like what the newspaper would call a serial killer,
Mm-hmm.
On the back alley shank strikes again, the downriver vampire, the butcher of Great Lakes, and for that becoming like the album title, I kind of just decided that one out of all of it. And I've kind of thought about going and using each name, but I probably won't. The last album was me being the Saran Man, and I got caught up. I was in prison as the Saran Man, and they didn't have no evidence. So now they're going to investigate the fact that it may not be the Saran Man fucking suspect. It may be the one we think that's the Great Lakes Butcher. But
maybe the Great Lakes Butcher just got a nice case of Saran wrap one day and did a couple.
Precisely. I mean, yes, exactly.
Switch up his motive.
Copycat.
Yep. That's what I love about it, man. It's really rooted in this like true crime, like real life murder and snuff. Like, it's not like, I'd say it's horrorcore, and but it's almost like it's snuffcore. You know what I mean? Like, you're explaining how to break down a body, you're explaining anatomy, you're explaining a lot of bodily fluids, and you're digging deep into like the mentality of a serial killer.
No, and I appreciate that you've seen that. You're making my whole day, my man. I love horrorcore. I love the genre. I love what it represents. I love the whole scene of the dudes that are like painting their faces and copying ICP 100%, mad respect to them. Lots of them fucking kill it. And if they would just have their own flavor, they could have blown up by now.
I agree. Every town has those guys that paint their face. I'm like, dude, you could do your own thing and you'd be really good right now.
It blows my mind. There's some of them that, like, I know I'm no one special by any means, but there's some that I see out there that, like, I would like to contact, but I'm trying to distance myself so far from that.
Yeah.
And when I explain like my music to people that aren't privy of horrorcore or shit like that, it destroys me inside to be like, well, it's not really Eminem because I'm a white boy rapper, but it's more of an ICP without the clowny feel. And then, you've killed all credibility for yourself with those 3 sentences.
And then, like, have you ever heard Brotha Lynch Hung? Like, what did you just say to me? It's like,
precisely, yeah, dude. Well, maybe Gangsta Nip? No. Well, okay. You Strange? No. Okay, then I don't know what the fuck to tell you.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I'll try to explain this show, HorrorCorridor, to people, and they are like, horror rap? What? huh?
Right. Right.
It's like, dude, the reason you haven't heard of it is it's underground because horror is being pushed into the underground for the last decade because people can't palate anything other than a ghost movie anymore.
Dude, exactly. I
But
respect James Wan and like the grotesque shit he's done, but he's half the reason like the horror movie genre fell apart.
yeah,
He started doing the PG-13 fucking
yeah, we
jump
talk about
scares.
it on our QVC show, but there's like the CGI like they CGI people's faces to make them look ghost makeup
The
and stuff.
worst, dude.
It's so terrible.
Like in those It remakes, fucking, I was super pumped for them. I knew they'd be corny and aimed towards children, but fucking like that scene where that painting came alive and like the beginning of one of them, that was the worst shit I ever seen in my life.
Yeah, those It movies weren't good, especially the sequel. I fell asleep during the sequel, so
So did I. It was upsetting. I
yeah,
wanted to see them as adults and actually have fun, but wow,
yeah.
what a
Um,
hell.
I was gonna ask, did you ever have problems at your live shows, like Modern Exchange? Were they ever like threaten you guys, like over lyrical content? Like, cause you guys are saying some fucked up shit on stage.
Uh, Dude, the original guy that was like allowing the shows, his name was Mike, and he had to have been an old hippie, you know. I don't know. The Modern Exchange was a thrift store, like a resale shop for like wannabe hippie chicks. Like they had goofy sundresses and styles from the 70s. And in the back, they had just a giant open area with like a little bar for, you know, pizza and pops and shit, and a beautiful fucking stage. Giant stage, just beautiful. And then an upstairs like VIP area. And I don't know who first claimed it, but it, it was it never was a bad vibe. The dude was always cool with us. He fucking whenever we wanted to do a show, he was allowing us. He was dealing with the fucking Southgate police and all that. And yeah, he was the man.
I'm telling you, man, if you if those groups did a show over here in the Northwest, somebody would get bought hurt and the show would get shut down. The PA would get turned off, and I've seen it happen. People get offended really easily out here.
Um, Dude, I've never like performed at a show to where like I could tell people like were offended, and or I could tell like the business owner did not want me in the place, you know. I've always felt welcomed, and I've been in some good places and
Hmm.
some hillbilly places. I've been to a lot of different venues, and everybody's always been cool.
That's cool. They must know what they're getting when they're coming to your shows.
Yeah, true.
Yep. But yeah, back to the question. Any lyrics you wouldn't write about anymore?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yes. Um, I like I said, I was always under assumption I couldn't have kids, but I knew that if it ever happened, I would definitely have a daughter. And fucking my whole point of Jerry Poppin, Shayne Wolf, C Poppin, and all that, I am fucking sick, and I'm fucked up, and I'm vulgar and bad towards women. And my child's going to find it one of these days, regardless, and I'll deal with that when it comes. But I wanted to at least approach the situation in a way to where it was more mature, like as you stated, to where it's more of a serial killer's tale as opposed to some sick fuck who's just catching a nut, you know, and hurting women because he can.
Well, it's kind of like if you look at Ted Bundy, he did a lot worse things than what people just thought that he was a rapist and a killer, but he was actually
Well,
he was also a pedophile. He was a necrophiliac.
necrophiliac, yeah.
He dressed up women's heads and played with them like he was. So I mean, that's just what I'm saying. That's like
They watch their victims for days, you know.
yeah,
They know the victim's friend of a friend of a friend who comes through on Thursday night when you ain't doing nothing.
yeah, exactly.
That's deep in the psyche. I was writing a verse today and fucking I don't know what I'm gonna call it, but it's some of the most like it's a bad mind beat and it's super high tempo. And it's basically me just like explaining like the shit that I've said throughout these years and how I see what like horrorcore should be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not fucking Freddy Krueger pretending to come at you in your dreams. I'm the creep down the street that knows your kids and where they sleep, you know.
Exactly. And that's why I like
Real life shit.
that's why I like that you don't have an image either, because you're just this like pretty normal looking dude.
Right. And
Like-
that's, I mean,
Like you don't even look as shaggy as I do. Like you're pretty clean cut for the most part. But so was Patrick Bateman.
precisely, my man. He took pride in himself. I mean, so at Ted Bundy, there's a handful of serial killers that like hated themselves so much that they tried to make themselves look as well as they could, you know. I think there's been a few instances in my life where like I could have made the wrong turn and been a stupid fuck, but instead I've decided to like look at all my actions and the way I feel about a lot of situations and try to use them constructively instead of falling into my own hole, you know.
Yeah.
I could have destroyed myself numerous times. And that's not just take myself out or anything like that. I could have just ruined life. But I'd rather speak of it and release it like that and continue to enjoy life.
I agree. And like, just, it's not like those things are your fantasy and you want to do them, but you speaking of it, about them at all stops you from even thinking about wanting to do them. You know what I mean?
No, precisely.
Because you're
and
coming.
I agree with that.
I would say your lyrics are a lot deeper than most of the horrorcore artists that are kind of like on your level. You know?
No, I appreciate that. I used to like an explanation I used to tell people that were like, I was raised in bars, you know, when I growing up, raised in bars, fucking music and all that bullshit. And when I got to a teenage years and I was doing all these shows, all these men I knew from the bar, they'd be like, so what is this music? And I'd tell them like, you know, I fucking, shit, I've been sitting on that wax pen for like 40 minutes.
Dude, I've done that before.
I wasted half that cartridge.
Oh no. Hopefully they sell it in Boston.
Fuck. Yeah, they do. It cost me like $60.
That's still not enough for tonight.
No. I would tell them like my music, you know, as offensive as you find it, it's the same thing that you're going to see on fucking Steve Wilkos.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned Steve Wilkos numerous times through like Project Sin. That's real life horror. You know, this shit, molestation, fucked up, disgusting shit happens every day. I'm not telling you about fantasies of a horror movie that's not going to happen. I'm trying to fuck you up and make you think about the outcomes of life and what can happen to you.
Oh yeah. And
realistically,
when you bring that shit up, yeah, it's offensive, but what I think it does is it grounds people to remind them how offensive it really is. If you know what I mean.
Right.
Like that, yeah, you should be offended. It's fucked up. You know?
No, absolutely.
And it doesn't make you is the news a bad person for talking about it? And maybe it's in a different light, but it's a similar situation.
But at the same time, it's always looked at from the other person's eyes as I'm saying it to glorify it. When in reality, I'm saying it because I'm a fucking weirdo. It flows nice to me. I feel like I'm bringing awareness and I feel like it's super fucking sick. And I'm bringing horror.
Yeah. And that's the problem, I think, with a lot of horror fans, not just in the horrorcore scene, but people don't like rooting for the villain or even being on the villain's side or seeing through the eyes of the villain. They always want good to win, you know, and like in your music, the good never wins. So
right. And it's like, where? Yeah.
I mean, there's ICP and they're vigilantes pretty much. Like they're killing people like you in their music. Like their characters would kill your character because of the things that your character has done. So
exactly. And fucking that blows my mind. You know, fucking I was never the biggest juggalo by any means. I'd go to some ICP shows. I'd fucking go to Hollow Wicked. I'd have a good time. In like my 4th year of 9th grade, I fucking wore some Twisted shirts every now and then. Was never a huge juggalo. Oh, I was about to make a point, but god damn, what was I gonna say about juggalos?
They rule.
They do.
They do.
They make the world go round.
Oh yeah, and they support they fucking support, you know. They spend money on music and what other
No,
scenes.
they do. Yes. And what it did come to, like, I was never the biggest Juggalo by any means.
Yeah.
But I supported them and loved them. And fucking upon the same time of me, Chris, and Jeff all becoming friends, this was after the Wraith Shangri-La came out. And fucking they were all like, it's for Jesus. It's for, you know, and I'm like, what the fuck? And that like fucked me up. I was completely done with them. Went to a concert here and there, sure. Why wouldn't I? But I couldn't. I had zero respect for them after that.
Yeah, where to be.
And it's not
too.
like they lied to me or mistreated me by any means, but it's what the fuck. And then you follow it up with Hell's Pit and you're talking crooked preacher killers, and they lost me. Shangri-La fucking lost me as like.
Oh, you're not
an
a
attendee.
You're not a Hell's Pit fan though. It's okay,
dude. Me and Insanity T. Loke, third member of Mental Ward, went and got it the day it came out at Circuit City before Circuit City was shut down.
Fucking loved Circuit City.
Dude, they had everything lynched.
Oh,
everything. Wow. At this one in Taylor, it was insane. They had that mixtape that Lynch and Doomsday made. Fucking. But yeah, we got Hell's Pit from there. And we put it in the car immediately, and we sat in a fucking Ford Taurus and listened to the whole album, and I don't think I smiled once.
Yeah, I had to come around to the Wraith and Hell's Pit, honestly. It took me a long time. Everything before that I think is gold, and then a lot of stuff after it's really good too. Like Bang Pow Boom's a fucking solid album. Good party album. But
which was the album with the Chris Benoit track?
I think that was Bang Pow Boom. Yeah. Mikey Clark was back in production and stuff.
Then yes, I'm down with like that album. I've jammed it before.
It was on those three. It was either that or the Mighty Death Pop. It was one of those two, I think. But those came out pretty close to each other. But yeah, that was a good song. Chris Benoit. That's a fucked up story.
I love Chris Benoit. Before I got with my wife and I was like homeless and bouncing around and doing random shit, if I was at my mom's for Christmas, like from like 2013 until 2017-ish, she would always get me a Chris Benoit gift for Christmas.
Oh, that's sweet.
Like it'd be an old school action figure still in the, you know, Minton box and all that shit, but every year she'd get me something Chris Benoit. It's like,
did you ever learn his signature move, the head dive thing?
No, but I've put people in some like standing cross faces. I never incorporated the arm, but I've hit some people with some cross faces before. Wow. Right on the bridge. And I used to be like a school wrestler, whatever they call it now.
Yeah. Wrestler.
Whatever. Wrestler, like a real wrestler.
Yeah.
But yeah, crossface was my shit when I was wearing fucking those get-ups.
Nice. What's the nastiest song you've ever wrote?
Ooh. I don't know. I think that one that I told you about before we got on the phone.
Yeah, I just listened to that.
DSK feature.
Yeah.
Me and Jeff were chilling one day and he's like, this dude, Dirty South Killa, wants us on a track with Dark Half. And Dark Half was pretty relatively new at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, hell yeah. And he's like, we got to record it at Icarus's house. So I was like, for sure. So he played the beat for me. I was like, ooh, that's nice. What's this called? And he's like, Sickest Beans. Sweet. So I'm on my way to Icarus's house, fucking sitting in a car, trying to write to it. And I was like, Sickest Beans. So that's got to be like one of my favorite verses of like sickness, no doubt. I remember recording that like the back of my hand. That was a good day.
That's awesome. So that's DSK Horror? Was that what it was called? Or
Dirty South Killa, Sickest Beans featuring Project Sin, Dark Half.
It's going to be, I'll put it at the end of the video. So listen to his verse at the end of the video. It's going to be the last song.
No doubt.
Hell yeah. Do you ever watch real death videos or study true crime for your lyrics?
Yeah, I have endless amounts of I have almost every like serial killer encyclopedia and single novel or crime book, whatever they're called. I have it all
Mhm.
nonstop, an overabundance of like serial killer information.
Yeah, it's addictive for sure.
It's really bad. I was just up in Salem and I lost my fucking mind, dude. There's this little shop. Hold up. It's called the Magic Parlor. And dude,
I'll
they
hold that a
had
little closer to your face. There you go.
the Magic Parlor.
Beauty.
Uh dude, they had some serial killer memorabilia in there. They had some shit from H. Holmes, some part of his apartment building, like a
Mhm.
piece of carpet. And then they had something from Eileen Warnos. It was her prison jumpsuit, a piece of cotton. But I wasn't trying to drop no loot like that. I was
Yeah,
losing
yeah.
my fucking mind, dude.
Our network's got some people that collect that stuff, and it's crazy. Like
It
some of the
is.
stuff they have.
It ends up costing so much money. It's like, god damn.
I was saying I would much rather go to like an actual location where the shit happened. Like Ariel Castro's basement would be the most terrifying shit ever. Or
Yeah, it'd be
like,
pretty fucked up.
yeah, just like,
Yeah,
or I mean, just anywhere where something brutal is like murder has happened. I mean, I've probably been to houses and stuff and didn't really
I was
affect me.
gonna say I could take you around like the hood real quick and take you in a rape house if you want,
No, no, I'm good. No, I'm good.
Those are all over. I mean, yeah, they're all over.
Yeah, in Detroit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Just, I mean, it's chilled out a lot. It's cleaned up and shit, but there's still just a whole neighborhood with like 3 blocks of just houses that they've torn down, and there's one abandoned house still standing. And all that's happening in there is pure dope and crime and rape.
yeah, yeah. It's like Albert. It reminds me of Albert Fish. He'd take
Pretty
people to
much.
the abandoned houses and
He'd
stuff.
be leaving fucking grace down there.
Yeah. Ugh. Albert Fish in Detroit. Now that's a movie that shouldn't be made.
In 2022.
Yeah. Just playing Staying Alive and he's strutting down the street.
Yeah, the gray man. Fucking A.
So what else inspires like your horror snuff style lyrics? Like do you watch August Underground? I saw a picture of you and Lissa Sear with Fred Vogel, so I was kind of going to ask
Yeah,
about that.
no doubt. It was a horror hound weekend. I want to say maybe 2014 or something like that. Me and Lissa Sear went to Horror Hound. And we met lots of fucking dope dudes, but fucking yeah, I came across Fred Vogel and lost my mind. And prior to that, it was her and Big K who introduced me into August Underground. I had never heard of it or seen it, nothing like that. And we were on IMDb somehow, fucking Big K's TV, and fucking he's like, August Underground, it's so good. And he rented it through IMDb, and fucking it blew my mind. I'm like, holy shit. And still to this day, I randomly ask him, like, how did we rent that off IMDb? Because you can't do it anymore. There's
That's
no way to do it.
that's weird. Maybe you had to like plug your laptop into the TV or something. I don't know.
Dude, I'm fucking technology retarded.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I could help you there, but yeah, it was kind of hard to find. Like there was a while when you could get it in stores. Like Hot Topic actually sold it for a while, but then it was just like you'd have to order it online or bootleg it or something. Because
The best way to see anything that's worth watching in the fucking gore, grotesque, or live death or anything like that, and I mean, it's a solid site. You ain't got to really worry about being scammed or spammed or whatever. It's fucking
effed up movies.
effed up movies.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm on that shit nonstop.
nice.
I just watch that nonstop at work and everything. It's stupid.
Oh yeah. Well, I could probably get you in some file sharing stuff once you get back home. Some stuff
I'll,
that you
I'll take it.
probably didn't know existed, but you want to know existed.
I've seen some of like the mixtapes of like real deaths and just fucked up shit,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm all about it. But like some of them like are kind of ignorant and disrespectful, which is weird for me to say, but
No, I agree. Yeah. Because you got to
the
think those people have families and shit. So.
right, that MD Pope dude, like some of
Oh,
his I did not enjoy.
we're anti MD Pope on the network, so
That all right.
we actually
That's all I had to
we
get.
have an
Okay.
emoji that says MD Poop, and it's got a piece of shit. So
Beautiful.
we fucking hate.
Other than that, I'm down with 99% of everything you're talking about.
Yeah, that guy
So-
was actually the guy that made that is actually like accused pedo or chimo. So
I would imagine so. It's like, fuck that dude.
yeah, yeah. So, but you don't watch the. I like real horror too, I like special effects, because that's art. That's more art, you know. Like I'm not trying to watch someone get hit by a fucking car unless I'm like
Well-
really curious.
Dude, like my all-time favorite horror movie since childhood was The Fly.
Yeah, the original or
That's-
the Jeff Goldblum one?
Jeff Goldblum.
Oh hell yeah, that's a good one.
Dude, ever since I was like 6 years old, I had my mom run it for me. He went and did her shit for a little bit. That's like how it was if I, as a kid, fucking, she'd go handle shit. I'd stay at home and she'd let me rent whatever I want. While she was gone, I'd watch that and she'd be home by that time. So I took advantage, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, The Thing, The Fly. That was all like kindergarten and first grade.
That's dope. That's cool.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
my parents didn't let me start watching it till I was like 13.
That just
but
makes you want more.
I was about to say, jokes on them. Now I have an extreme horror network, so
Exactly. It's like, thanks, Ma. Well,
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, thanks. Yeah.
and then all I listened to was fucking Shayne Pop'N Wolf's disgusting lyrics while I'm driving around in my car.
I like this guy. Yeah.
Yeah, so we kind of did go over the production on Lowlife Resurrection. It was a lot of Marshmello Monster and Toxic Beats. But you did have a the We Are Nuts, like it was almost a cipher because it has like fucking 6 dudes on it. A Game the
Yes.
Reptile, Demonic, Draco,
MC
Beezy,
Draco, yes.
G, MC Dirty, who was actually Dustin Ferguson, the film director. I was
Precisely. My
gonna
boy.
ask you about
I
him
love
in a
him.
second.
Right.
Troubled Minds, Rozakel, and Marshmello Monster. Past
Amen.
guest. That is
Yeah.
quite the lineup.
It is. When I was probably like 15 tracks deep into my album, and I had this beat and it was killer as fuck. And I ended up writing however many bars I wrote for that. And I was like, this song needs so much more. And I didn't want to just rap forever. I think the beat was around 5 minutes or something. And I was just going to keep going. But I put a post out on Facebook and I was like, yo, any rapper in any genre, just underground dudes that want to get their name out, don't give a fuck who you're fucking with or who you're associated with. Anybody that wants to make a track, I got ill ass beat. I'm putting it on my album. Share it, I'll promote it. You're my people. Let's do it. And it got shared around quite a bit. And I mean, I sent the beat to a ton of people, but those were the only ones that sent me a verse back. Other people weren't.
Someone uploaded a single cover and you were still C-popping on that.
It was Vect.
Oh, Vect, yeah, uploaded that
For sure. Which was cool with me. He mentioned it. He really enjoyed that song and having like the features I had on it. And I was like, be my guest, homie. It's cool.
That's
You
cool.
know, it's a giant posse track. I ain't trying to make loot off that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I asked Roz, from our old school friendship, and I was super humbled. She said yes. Justin Ferguson, me and him ended up we were about to do a group called fucking, well, I'll let you ask about him in a minute. Draco's my people since back in the day. I love them to death. I love you, Draco. If you're watching, have love. Trouble Minds. I mean, fucking, if it wasn't for Toxic, I wouldn't even be bullshitting with you right now. He's the only studio I had. He's the only person that fucking gave me the time of day to let me like come back and try. And Demonic's always been there with me. I'm just trying to show love to everybody on that track.
Marshmello Monster.
Well, I was saving them for last, and that's why I put them last on that
A
track.
Game the reptile.
A Game fucking yeah, he's a little brother to me, and my lord, like, what the fuck? He's killing it. Holy shit, dude. Alec, I love you, baby. Keep going. You blow my mind daily.
Oh yeah.
If you didn't know, Alec is a massive NDC fan. He has Low C's name tatted in his arm.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
So I've been knowing Alex since he was fucking in middle school or some shit. So,
all right, what up, Alex? I'm gonna listen to some of your music after this.
Yeah, he's worth it. He's fucking killing it, dude. He's not so much on a horrorcore tip. He touches on it, but he's real hip hop.
Yeah,
the rap title is real fucking hip hop.
Sometimes I gotta force myself to break away from this horror world. It's hard, but I do it sometimes.
No, absolutely. And before we touch on that, Marshmello Monster just shook the ground for me with his verse. He came exactly how I wanted it. He became disgusting horrorcore, NDC style sick shit, and I wanted him to shine and be last.
I love when he jumps on your stuff because he gets sicker than he usually goes.
No doubt. And like, I don't even have to ask him for that. And like most people, I kind of like beat around the bush, and I'm like, I kind of like to have an NDC vibe. I'm not telling you to be a full rapist, not telling you to do this and that, but if you could just say some shit that's sicker than what you normally spit for me. And I don't have to say that to Skeeter Marshland. He does it. He knows, and every time he blows my fucking mind.
And that song you did on his album, Redline, fucking fire, dude.
Me and A Game.
Yeah, you and A Game.
Fuck yeah.
Fucking good. Brutal. All three of you were brutal on that track.
That was 2018. I had recorded 2 songs for Lowlife Resurrection that ain't even on the album, and I dropped that in my first session of coming back in 2018.
It's fucking dope, dude.
Yes, thank you.
So what led to your involvement with HorrorCrunk Entertainment? Actually, let's go back to Dustin Ferguson real quick.
Okay, no doubt.
So he's your homie. How did you meet this guy? And I just want to say some of the stuff that he's directed or made is just ridiculous. Like,
it's crazy. And nothing but love to that man too. He's amazing in so many realms.
I want to see these Faces of Dying movies that he made just because it's a Faces of Death parody look.
No, for sure. And I mean, you have to take his movies with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
He's like on a no budget situation and he's killing it. They're beautiful. I love you, Dustin.
Arachnado, Robo Women.
Dude, that list is endless.
Conjuring Curse, Grindsploitation 666. I mean, how does he? I don't.
Fucking Amityville in the Hood or in Space. One of them he just did. Fucking, I did a song. He was retiring, and he was making one more album. He came back out of nowhere, and he's like, "I know I said I wasn't gonna rap anymore, but I'm dropping this album called Fresh Prince. Will you be on it?" And I was like, "Homie, I got you till the end of time." So he fucking sends me this track with like the most fire beat ever. And he's like, when you hear me like stop rapping or doing the hook, just come in. And I was like, and fill it up until I hear you again. And he's like, yeah. I was like, that's a lot of your song. He goes, kill it, dude. And that's probably one of my most proudest verses ever. Everything I've done with Dustin is I tried to be a sick fuck, but be something that you could hear publicly.
Yeah, it's like a little bit more radio friendly, if you want to call it that, but it's still yeah.
Right. It's great. It's fun. And I kind of went with that approach. I did a track with con-crete also, which we'll get to in a second, but I kind of went that approach with that also.
That was Michael Gore's off of his new Evil album. That song's good.
I like it. I was super pumped with that when I sent it through to him, and I kind of like, it was whole new style for me. I like never kind of tried to sound hip-hoppy or fucking uppity by any means. And I thought like he'd send it back and be like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? What are you thinking? And he hit me back up and he's like, my Lord, you know, you fucking killed it. And I was like,
Yeah.
so, I mean, that's beautiful for me too.
I was glad that you got on that album because it was just a very welcome feature to have on there.
Dude, I don't know when he's releasing it. I ain't trying to leak nothing, but I did a track for Bloodshot's like upcoming album too. And it's a tip that like I've never touched on it in my career. Me and him like
Nice.
went weird as shit on it.
Hell
And I'm
yeah.
not trying to hype it up and be a fucking queer by any means, but it's amazing. I'm like pumped to hear the
Everybody,
feedback.
I mean, I'm just wondering about. I hear all the stuff he's hyping, and it sounds like there's so much going
It's all
on behind
real.
the scenes. It's crazy.
There's so much. Like it, here I am back at Facebook, but he had posted something the other day about how gracious he feels about like running a record label and what it means to him. And I stay pretty active in the conversations between us all, but he has a separate group that's breaking off between like just one or two of the people from the label just to see if we can work something out. And he's covering so many fucking angles, dude. Like, man runs a business, man's a dad, man's doing this fucking running this label, and he's on top of all of it.
I
He
don't
needs
get
to
it.
take a nap. Chill out, homie.
And he's like one of the best vocalists in the scene.
Dude, absolutely. And like so well known and respected throughout the whole like scene.
Yeah. Like every rapper I feel like that I've talked to on the show knows him and loves him, and it's probably our most watched episode too. Was his episode, and
Right, yes. Yeah. What episode number was that?
I think he was 5.
Was it 4? Okay.
5?
All right.
Yeah, I took a few weeks off, but we're coming back with actually Michigan Misfits is tomorrow, and then ADR LaVey is going to be this weekend.
The Michigan Misfits dudes came up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Started seeing their names on like flyers and shit, and I'd be like surprised thrown on a show. Like somebody called off the show. You want to do it? Or whatever. And I'd be there and fucking Michigan Misfits. Holy shit. Yeah. Out of nowhere. Blew up. I dig them.
Their sound is they got a different sound than everyone else. People throw around the boom bap sound like too much nowadays when they say, "Oh, it's boom bap style," but it really is kind of that '90s hip hop with instruments in the background stuff that they're doing now.
Dude, it's clean. And I'm usually a hardcore hater and don't accept shit, but I've dug their shit. You know, I've seen them live. I'm pretty sure I've done a show or two with them, and yeah, I dig them. And I'm a huge hater. I'm an asshole.
Yeah, no, me too. I'm pretty picky. That's so I'm glad they reached out to us, but we'll stop talking to them. We'll get to them tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, but your current involvement in HorrorCrunk Entertainment, yeah. I guess we went over it, but that's awesome. Congrats.
I could I guess I can give you a run around of how it happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to get to, sort of.
All right. So he had made, well, obviously for like the past since Corona, I'd say, you know, he's been making little drops here and there, them weird Disney dark shits he was doing, and you know, he just was dropping mad cryptic messages, being that like active on Facebook and social media and shit. And I haven't seen fucking Bloodshot in person since probably like 2010 maybe, and that's giving it some credit. But each time I see him in person, we were good peoples, and it was always good times. So he's posting all this shit, and I'm happy to see him live. And you know, he started mentioning that he wants to like get a collective going together and try to start a label, this and that. And I was supportive. I was like, hell yeah, dude, fucking if you ever need a helping hand or whatever, holler at me. I'd like to fuck with you. And he's like, bet, I'll be in touch. And then a few months goes by, he's handling shit, promoting it, and he fucking sends me a message and he's like, not too sure what's going on in life with you, homie, but you know, I dig your shit, and if you need a home, I got you. And I was like, yes, I need a home, you know, 100%. And fucking, I've fucked with a lot of people in this underground, and you know, I've somewhat been under some wings, and came up with some others, and fucking throughout all my experiences, Bloodshot is fucking on top as fuck, and it's beyond mad appreciated.
Hell yeah, dude.
And like I said, take a nap, homie. Take a little break. I know you're worn out.
I even got some shit in the works with him right now, some music shit. So
I'd imagine so. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I'm not singing, so don't get too excited. But
no, I get.
But it's gonna be. I mean, I'm just really excited. Anything that comes out of your guys's horror. I mean, you guys aren't in the same state even, but like anything that comes out of that label is just really exciting to me. Especially with Concrete's.
No doubt.
Concrete's really rising up right now too. So.
He is, and he's just nonstop. Like, you know, I'm fucking putting out an album like every 2 years and like questioning if I should do an EP, and fucking Concrete's just like, I have mad material. Here you go. Here you go. You know, I'm like, Jesus Christ, what am I doing with myself? But he's on top of it. Fucking Ill Nickel and Deranged are about to like shit on the game like a motherfucker. It's beautiful. And
Ill Nickel's great.
Yes, he is.
I haven't heard Deranged that much, but I'm excited too.
From what I've heard of him, like prior to this and with this HCE shit, he's shining. He's a nice little like new flavor and twist on. I think you'll dig it.
Yeah.
Me and you are kind of on that same, plane.
Yeah, for sure, man. I feel like even after this interview, we're gonna have to like smoke and talk sometime. But
oh yeah, down.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask the Shockwave Pump video. I think this might link into another question of mine, but who's the guy in the background?
That is my homeboy Mason. I don't know if he wants me dropping his full name or whatever. He's a dad. I just told him this on the night we shot that video, how proud I am. Me and him were the biggest pieces of shit on the planet. If you could pick like the two kids out of like your graduating class to be like, those guys will die by something stupid, it'd be me and him. And, he has been a single dad for like fucking 13 years, raising a little girl.
Damn.
And I told him the other day, like, man, love, dude, like, truly, I've known him since second grade. He's a close friend of mine. And he's always been into cameras and video shooting and all that. And I've been pulling his leg. I was like, homie, we ain't got to drink. We ain't got to do anything. I want you to hold the camera and make this look cool. So he came over. We did that for a minute. And I was like, now I want you in the background. You can hold these guns. I'll put a mask on you. Just have fun with me. He's like that. And now that I got him doing that, I'm hoping I can keep him doing that. I need a hype man.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's your hype man now.
I need a hype man so bad.
So what I was going to link that to was the Doom and Gloom, because he was wearing that mask. I thought it was the Doom and Gloom guy with Dirty. Is his name Dirty Z?
Well, Dirty's this is going back to Saginaw, 2000 and 2002, Michigan horrorcore. Have you fucked with Hospital H?
No, I have not, but I downloaded their album off the Doom and Gloom thing, and that's some fucked up shit.
Yes. That
but I saw like Defect did some of the
Defect is who brought Hospital H to the scene. But
and like also, by the way, this album is my
Jesus Christ, yes.
This is my cover for my KYP data disc. Beautiful. Do not listen to around people.
Excellent. That's how that came?
No, that's just what I put in there.
I was like, all right.
No.
Hell yeah. Dirty Z, Hospital H. Which Hospital H album did you get to download? What was it called?
The one with that awesome cover that came out like 2018, I think. It's
yeah, okay.
Got like a pregnant chick with a gun.
All right, yeah. That's basically Dirty Z all grown up and solo, just still using Hospital H. You need to look for Hospital H tracks. It's called Columbine Deja Vu. And there's a few others. Homie got expelled from school for that track. But, bro, like, you think I have a Lynch and fucking Doomsday influence. When you hear Hospital H from O2, you'll be like, this is fucking just this is disgusting.
Yeah,
Fuck.
I listened to like 3
Offensive.
tracks and I was like, this is even worse than
Yeah.
Shayne Pop'N Wolf. Like this is, but in a
Yeah,
good way. In a good way. It's just you can't listen to
no,
it around anyone.
you cannot. And you know, there was one time in like 2007, Dirty Z was a military man or something like that. But in 2007, Jeff had always been obsessed. We had been listening to Hospital H since like fucking 2004. Jeff always loved Dirty Z, and fucking in like 2007, somehow Jeff and Dirty Z got in contact with each other. And he drove all the way downriver, picked us up. We had an extreme fucked up night at Defect's house. It was terrible. I think he recorded some of it, which is terrible. Maybe I shouldn't be bringing any of that up. But that was the first time we had any contact with Dirty Z. And fucking, you know, it was like meeting a childhood hero for me and Jeff.
That's dope.
And we realized he is a true life psychopath. And we're like, all right, you know, cool dude, but wow, he's about it. And he disappeared for a long time, and he came back around 2017 while I was trying to come back into music. And he's like, dude, I want to do a group with you. Let's call it Doom and Gloom Death Squad. And, you know, I'm fucking like, you know, like a little girl, like, holy shit. So, yeah, we did that. And we had a few more tracks. I don't know what happened to them. But
I was listening to it though, and I like he's on most of it. Like you're only on like a few songs, or are you on every song? And I was just skipping through it too fast.
we have like a total of like 12 songs. And he, like I said, homie's a psychopath. Zach, you're a fucking psychopath. He, you know, they're just lost in time also. He's sitting on them. There's a handful of doom and gloom songs that fucking are super fucking sick that were supposed to be on that.
Damn.
That just
Let's get him out.
just sitting on. Right. There's one of them that somehow we lost my verse and it was replaced with a scum verse and toxic from Trouble Minds.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So since that's gone, I'm gonna reuse that verse because it was sick as fuck.
Nice. I'd have him on the show, but he might get me kicked off YouTube.
He may. I mean, he's also a dad, and fucking throughout the past year he's grown up. I love you, Zach. I'm not trying to down you by any means. He's corrected himself a bit. He'd be worth talking to. He would tell you more fucking crazy stories than I could, man. He's a fucking madman.
Word. Well, I'm gonna listen to that. Like, I'm really interested. That sounds like my shit.
Columbine Deja Vu, do it. It's so good.
Offensive Detroit Wicked shit. I'm down.
Yes.
So you're a big Batman fan, it seems like. Like,
oh yeah.
I've looked through a lot of your pictures when I was trying to do the flyer, and it's like Batman kept coming up. I saw him in the background. I saw him on your clothes. Like, is that your shit?
Pretty much. Good if we would have actually got to knock this out on Saturday. As we know, I'm out of town working, but yet all I'm doing is fucking going around the comic shops buying action figures and fucking comics, just wasting all my money, dude. Bro, fucking last weekend, I set up a coffee convention, the biggest coffee convention in Eastern America, blah, blah, blah. So I had the day off on Saturday, and I kept seeing people walking by with yellow bags that like had a huge Marvel sign. Like, there's a comic convention somewhere. What the fuck? It was in the hotel across the street from me. So I went in there, I used my badge and was like, yeah, I work here. I work next door at the other center. And they were like, all right, sir. So they let me in. And they had the original 90s artist of Lobo, like the cover artist, fucking Simon Bisley, I believe his name is. And 2 days before that, I was in Boston's mall and bought fucking the fresh release of fucking Todd McFarlane's Lobo action figure.
Dope.
But I was all stoned and didn't feel like going to my room, grabbing it, bringing it back, and having them sign it. So probably missed out hardcore on
Probably
that.
would have been a little suspicious when you came back in with your contractor pass and the action figure. Like, oh, I work here.
I'm just working, you know. But I mean, I've been collecting my swamp things of DC Black Label. Scored this from fucking GameStop where I bought a Lobo.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's like what I do when I travel, just buy horror movies everywhere.
Dude,
That's dope.
the first two hotels I went to, I could connect my phone and like Chromecast and do shit like that. So I
That's
was
sick.
set up. And now I'm in this hotel. Oh, yeah. I could have had him sign this too. I wasn't even thinking. That's his artwork.
Oh damn,
Yeah.
that's fucking awesome.
Yes. But I didn't know what I was saying now.
Did you see the new Batman movie?
Yep. I've
What?
seen it opening day, and I just seen it 2 days ago at the theater across the street because I'm losing my mind. Seen
What?
Morbius yesterday too. The first Batman, I don't know, bro. I had like half an erection half the time. I was really digging how dark it was, and I've been a huge Paul Dano fan since fucking There Will Be Blood. He blew my mind in that movie. I'm a huge movie buff. But dude, I just walked out and me and my buddy looked at each other and I was like, I don't know. I was like, it was really good and it kept me entertained. There was really only maybe 8 minutes of dullness, but it all went in its own section. But I just feel like there was no resolve.
Did you like it
I really,
better than what's his name?
I hate Christian Bale.
Yeah, I didn't like the Christian Bale ones. They were like, to me, they felt too serious and boring and long.
No, I'm with you.
It was Christopher
And
Nolan. That's what I was trying to say. I don't think he was the right pick for a Batman movie, honestly.
no, and like prior to Batman, Christopher Nolan was awesome. Memento and fucking Insomnia.
Mm-hmm.
Like Insomnia is amazing. I love that shit. But
I even like Interstellar.
and after Batman, he was good. You know,
Yeah.
he wasn't right for Batman. You're correct.
Yeah.
He put it on a big scale, and that was pretty. It was too monochrome, and
I agree. The colors weren't. I like the. I mean, coming from '60s Batman, I love that
no,
colorful.
my favorite Batman is in a fucking gray suit with a yellow symbol and fucking light blue gear. That's
Yep.
my favorite Batman. 80s Batman, whatever.
Grab
That is,
the bat spray, the shark repellent.
yes,
Yep,
down.
that's my shit too. Who are your favorite rappers right now?
Like,
Well,
just in general, or like rappers of today?
like, what are you listening to lately?
Oh. I've been listening to a lot of random as fuck dudes that I thought were nobody, fucking like Detroit local rappers, trying to figure out how in today's world you can rap off beat and run in between snares and stumble your words and fucking still get like 4 million views. So I'm listening to a lot of, sure, they're talented. I'm not understanding that genre and that style. So they may be fucking absolutely amazing. And I can't name any of them right now, but a lot of local Detroit rappers I'm watching and
So you're
trying to figure out.
studying a little bit, kind of like almost like
I'm
you're
trying
creating
to-
a business model.
I'm trying to figure out every different way I can rap that's already different than the way I can rap.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
You know, there's so many different ways, and there's so many different ways to come in and hit a snare. You know, I'm just trying to see what people see acceptable today is not what they would have accepted in 2008.
Yeah, I don't understand music of today. Like it actually gives me a angry reaction sometimes if I hear the auto tuning and the. I mean, I like some trap, like Darby O'Trill. It's awesome. I love shit like that. But like, if it's not horror trap, then like I don't get it.
No, I feel you. Like rap kind of needs to go hand in hand with horror.
Yeah.
They need to be talking about murking someone.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. It's got to be dark.
just because of them beats.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, like it's just weird it makes me feel like I'm listening to a spaceman go on an acid trip or something. Like,
Dude, that's higher than I've ever been on something I've never been high on. Like, I get you're feeling yourself, player, but I don't know what you mean. I don't get it.
I don't either. It's not made for our age, I don't think. But
I wish it was. I wish I was like some of the dudes that are even older than us that can just stay with the scene and understand it. I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah, there are those. There are. I can't think of them off the top. I guess Tech Nine would be a really good example, just because he changes for the mainstream like sounds.
He does. No, absolutely. And he knows like how to market himself. Like he did this song with fucking The Rock.
Yeah, exactly. Which is like one of the biggest songs of the year. So
what the fuck? Yeah.
And it's the biggest meme.
You can tell Tech Nine wrote that verse too.
Yeah.
Just by the way Rock's rapping it, you can tell Tech Nine like recorded that, and The Rock learned how to spit it and then recorded it.
Yeah, exactly. I was kind of thinking that exact same thing too. My son loves it. Do your kids like that song?
The older one does. He's really not too musically inclined. I try to like play jams to him, like cool raps, old school raps, modern Detroit shit that shouldn't be blowing up, but that is. And he never really gives me any kind of opinion on any of it. Once in a blue moon, he'll hit me with like a song that is blowing up on TikTok or something.
It's so hard to be impressed now as a child. It seems like if somebody showed me Slipknot or ICP on a video on a phone, I would be freaking out as a kid. Like, what is this? Teach me everything.
No, absolutely. I remember the first time I seen Wait and Bleed's video, but yes, go on.
Oh, I was just saying, I showed my son a Mushroom Head video, and I showed him a ton of ICP videos, and he's just not even like bats an eye. Like, and he loves horror, but he just doesn't care.
Dude, it's something with our culture today. There is no shock. Yeah. You can't be shocked. You know, everything's played off as a joke or a try hard or you're edgy.
Or sarcasm. A lot of sarcasm.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, yeah, there's nothing that's of shock value anymore.
Yeah. It gets all pushed to the underground. And yeah. Remember back in the early 2000s when there was like Hostel and Saw and stuff in theaters? Like, it's so rare that you even see gore in movies anymore. Maybe on Netflix,
absolutely. But I mean, yeah, and then you gotta watch subtitles the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
You know, and
which I'm fine with.
I am too, but
have you heard of that new movie, The Sadness? I think it's like Indonesian or something. It's supposed to be like the goriest, one of the most fucked up. It's got a lot of taboo stuff in it. It's a zombie movie, but I think it's one of those zombie movies where people like lose control of their psyche and turn into like rage-filled, like
it's like a 28 Days Later zombie.
Yeah, but I think these ones are like raping and eating each other and stuff like this. I mean, all I've heard is that it goes to taboos and like fucked up.
What streaming would that be on?
It's supposed to come out on Shudder in May.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
I have Shudder nonstop.
Yeah.
I'll be checking that out.
I'm excited for The Sadness. It's going to be. We need something that's like. We need something extreme. There hasn't been something that hardcore.
Have you ever heard of the comic Frost?
No.
Ooh, dude, look into like if you have Google in front of you, just Google really quick. Okay. Frost comic, dude. You're about to fall in love, homie. Holy shit. What you were saying about that movie, The Sadness, fucking how they like rape and just go insane. Yes.
This looks good. I like the art style. A lot of
it's like a virus. They get a cross on their head and they just become savage rapists and fucking murderers.
This looks horrifying. I might even like get a screenshot of this and pop it on screen right at this point.
Do it. It's so good.
That looks cool.
Everybody should know about Crossed.
Cool. Well, I might have to go down that rabbit hole. That sounds like something I want physical copies of too.
For sure. There was what year was this? Maybe like 2012, a little series came out from Image, and it was only like 4 issues, but it was an amazing story. It was called Revenge. And it was kind of like if there was a third person that was on the same level as Stallone and Schwarzenegger in the 80s. He was an action star, but he is aging. And this it was kind of like one of those two dudes was sent into a Serbian film where they were trying to kill him and he had to do fucked up shit.
Oh, that's cool.
revenge. It's so good. So good.
That's fucking awesome. I'm looking for more stuff like that. I love
No
extreme.
doubt.
Like in our on our Discord, we have like an extreme art section where people post all kinds of comics and stuff like that, and I really want to get into that stuff because you can do stuff in comics and paintings that you can't do in real life.
No, for sure. But I mean, even like becoming a fan of it, that's just like an endless rabbit hole of finding like new sicker shit and just like limited release. I mean, it's basically like the music scene too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The comics they can get sick as fuck. I've seen some fucked up comics, you know.
Oh yeah,
Somebody needs to make a comic of the Great Lakes Butcher.
for sure. I think so. That art that you have, who did that? The Great Lakes Butcher art.
Man, I want to show him proper love. Let me fuck with my phone real quick.
I'll pop it on screen.
Yeah, his name's like Middle Eye or something. I'm pretty sure he's
Andrew,
Indian.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he's an Indian. Like,
Damn, he's sick.
but yeah, he just had a bunch of death metal art and fucking. He was like, "What package do you want?" And I said, "Dude, I don't care. I'll pay you whatever. You know, this and that." And he drew me that up, and he was only going to charge me $30.
Wow.
And I was like, "Put my face on it." And he's like, "I got you." So he did that, and I paid $100. Dude, homie, you hooked me up fucking in 4 days.
I always do that too. Like if someone's does a really good job, I'm like, fuck you. I'm sending more money than that.
Right. He was like as bad as me on like doubting it. Like he didn't doubt himself, but he just wasn't holding himself up to the level he should, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful. I'm going through you again, homie.
Oh yeah. Hopefully more people do. Shit. I'll try to put
For sure.
link out or something because it's good shit.
I'm sick of seeing like horrorcore albums that like are like my last album, you know. I made that shit on my phone. It's so corny.
The aesthetic
I mean,
works though. The aesthetic works because it looks a little trashy and like, yeah. To me it shows like there's. Yeah, it looks like almost like a mixtape that you get like from a dude in Las Vegas. You know what I mean? Like someone just
right.
handed
No,
out
for sure. I
mixtapes.
you're saying like it's printed on a piece of shit paper.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, but for sure, like that's next level. What you did with the next release.
A lot of my shit on that album, and sure, I may be fucking tooting my own horn or whatever, but I did not bring any style or anything that resembled anything that I've done prior to that. I kind of strived myself on making sure like each track was something I would be proud to allow a hero to hear, as opposed to my last album where I was just trying to put out material.
Yeah.
I'm super proud of this next album.
When can people expect it?
If things go to plan, and I mean, they pretty much are going to plan. If I could have handled today's fucking interview a little bit better, I was going to upload the next single because for some reason my Spotify just blew the fuck up. Like, I don't know if it was me and you like sharing us having an interview or some shit, but my Spotify, I've had 36 followers for fucking 2 years, and I got over 4,000 in a 3-day span.
Jeez.
Didn't pay no bots. Didn't do no weird shit like that. I don't know what happened.
Wow.
But yeah. So I may do it before the night's up. If there's a way I could play it on my phone and you could be like the leak of it, I don't give a fuck. Would it sound clean?
We could try it. I don't know though.
I mean, if you want to claim it, let's do it.
Wait, can you send me the file?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could play that easy.
Scavenger, I'll damage ya. Straight up fucking ravage ya. The scatter gun will shatter ya. Smash your fucking bladder, yo. I'm a pro with this shit. You're a novice level amateur. So take your shot, get a pick, bend your knees. What suck 'em dead. Come and bring it to me, motherfucker. Realize I am a fiend. I see you and I hear you. I am near you while you scream. Mental breakdown haywire. Straight pathetic quagmire. How long can you ride this way before we beg you to retire? Shit is lame and tired. Lyrics boring and uninspired. Your hopes of a comeback are so far beyond expired that I know your temp is rising just from hearing me spit fire. That they got you on that life support and shit is getting dire. Like that movie from the 80s that was cheaply made for TV about that little boy named Davey. The comparison of you and him is reasoning when I step in. You're questioning my medicine. We'll take a breath and hold it in and say then prisons I begin.
Yeah, hell yeah. Did you get to the hook?
Who's on the hook?
One shot.
Oh
yeah. Oh yeah.
Watch me throw myself in the line of fire. All for nothing like I'm stunned. I stay blunted. Young man understands something that this shit turns me on. It gets me high when my targets don't comply. It's synonymous with telling me they would rather die. I let them try, I let them ride, I let them think that they got time. But in reality I know that they're doing the run and hide. I let them think they got away, hoping that they slip my mind. But you know me, I show up out of nowhere. Now their life is mine. When you combine all of my crimes, all the victims with the times, fines, lines I've crossed, you can see that my mind is lost. I am mental, incidental, dental, floss, piano, wire. Better yet I say I'm waiting to be fired. When you see something shining and you're praying it's the sun. Trust it's not, it's just that red dot crimson trace up under my gun. I'm holding back on headshots, clipping out they limbs as they run. This is the house that Shayne built out of tears, sweat and blood.
Yeah, dude.
Is that a solid single?
Jesus. Woo!
Yeah, I dropped that song like a year ago and I could never write a hook for it, dude. I've tried and tried and I could never write a hook. And after Bloody hit me up and was like, "You need a family?" And I accepted, I was like, "I have one favor. I need a hook on this. Do whatever feels right to you." And he's like, "Oh my God, I got you." And he sent that through and I was like, pieces of a puzzle, man. It just perfect.
Yeah, something about you and Bloodshot, man, it just works. So
it does. Yeah. It's a nice feeling. I feel good every time like I'm on a track with him or like right next to him on a verse. It's beautiful.
And like you could have gone the easy way and gotten like a soft female singer. You could have gotten like a hardcore, like, you know, anthem.
Repetitive hook.
But no, you like went with the old, like the Bloodshot I call it crooning when he's just like, oh,
no,
like,
for sure.
When he's going like that. And like, he's got so many different voices. Like
when you listen to that beat, as soon as that hook hits, there's like a fucking synth horn or a siren or something that's just like, so it makes you want to, like, at least in my mind, I couldn't write to it because it makes me want to hold like a word out right there.
Mm-hmm.
And the beat was called Strike. So every time the hook came around and that synth or whatever hit, I was like, strike. And I just kept trying to work around that and it was getting really bad. So I was like, please do something. And when he sent that back to me, I had no idea of what anyone would ever do to it. And when he sent that back, I was like, holy fuck, that's so perfect.
He was telling me he wants to go a lot more experimental on his work now on. And I've noticed it with the Crybaby track, with that, what you just played me. Like, we need that in the scene. We need experimental,
no doubt,
out of the box stuff.
Lots of conversations that me and him have had just between the two of us is him praising me and making me feel swell about myself and fucking telling me and ensuring the fact that fuck it all, keep crossing the line. What I'm doing is right. The way I'm approaching the offensiveness and coming at it from my angles or whatever is appropriate, and that's what he wants. He wants to offend, and he wants people to fucking hear us offend them.
And
And I am so fucking down.
It reminds me of when Brotha Lynch joined Strange Music, and anytime he'd put a video out with him, they'd have to have a disclaimer. This does not represent Strange Music in any way.
We give the artist free creative control, and that's, I mean, like, in the back of my mind, I've been like, I need to chill out on like my rapist and like how sick I am. I need to evolve and like be a respectable man and dad. And then I got Bloodshot like messaging me like, shit was so sick. We need to offend everyone. You know, come as sick as you can. And I'm like, damn it. You know, so I'm trying to keep my goals and meet his goals. And it's beautiful in my mind.
I think just with Lowlife Resurrection, like we were saying earlier, you did straddle that line perfectly. And I think what it sounds like is you're wanting to take it up a notch, but also keep that subtlety, but infer that something worse is happening.
I want to sound beyond civilized. I want to sound superior. I want to, when somebody looks at horrorcore and you show them like a fucking posse scene of like what it is from 2004 until today or whatever, I want the fact that not only do I not follow the trend of trying to look scary, but also the trend of I'm not trying to sound scary. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
Fucked up shit, homie, you know?
Yeah.
Me and you were smoking a blunt, I'd be talking the same fucking weird shit. Sorry, I'm rhyming it and it offends you.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine like if you and I were just chilling, like we'd be talking about some nasty ass shit just because
no doubt, dude.
You know?
I mean, you got me on a camera on fucking a Zoom chat right now, and I don't even talk to people on the fucking phone, bro. Yeah. So you got me hooked.
Word, man. Word. Well, I'd like to thank you a lot for being on the show. We're hitting 2 hours now, and I could probably go on forever. We're gonna do another one. I'm just letting you know.
No,
if
please,
you're down,
absolutely.
When this album drops, I'm sure you'll have a few other projects, maybe a few group projects. Who knows? I think you're gonna do the doom and gloom. Gonna go on.
I have put Bloody in touch with Dirty Z, and I've touched on some grounds of some Blue Velvet. If you know what that means, that's a possibility too.
What's Blue Velvet?
And if you don't know, then just hang in anticipation.
Don't you fucking look at me!
And yes, precisely, dude. There's a whole world being built off of that.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah,
that's
and
exciting.
It's going to come to fruition within the next few years. Absolutely.
Word. That's awesome, man. Well, appreciate it.
No doubt.
Take care of yourself out there in Boston. I know traveling can get lonely and sad, but you got all of us. You got HCE. Anyone will freaking message you because you're a cool motherfucker. So just reach out if you get bored.
No doubt.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, dude. Holler at me. Let's do it again.
Will do. Thanks.
Peace, G.
Sick, we swallow shit. Too sick with burpee dick. Too sick is projects in TSK. We liberate. Never hesitate to masturbate on a motherfucking corpse in public. Yeah, bitch, we love it. Catch me on the street pulling pussy while I'm scrubbing. Catch me at your mama's crib cooking her up in the oven. Leather glove in your motherfucking guts. Leather glove around your throat while my dick's up in your butt. Maybe get a neck cut. Maybe remove her trophy card. That's me. A fucking too sick beam. A motherfucking crack fiend. A motherfucking addict. A sick pervert. See a puppy and I stab it. I grab it. I eat it. I puke it out at a playground. Not much to say now. Little girl lay down. Little girl is there, so little girl don't make a sound. Swallow my sperm next time I come around.
We are the sickest beings. Everything